Welcome to Syntax. Today we've got an episode for you on next gen, upcoming and coming very soon JavaScript features. So TC39 has a proposal stage where people will propose ideas to add to JavaScript, and they go through the different stages. And as they move along, some of them are stage 0. They're just wacky ideas that'll never happen. And then some of them are stage 2 to 2.7, I guess, is a stage now, 3, 4, and then we actually have them in the browser. So last week, there's a whole bunch of new proposals that have moved forward and looking like they're going to make it. So we're going to talk a little bit about what they are and where they would help you out and kind of what you can look forward to, as well as like give you a chance to, anytime any of these new features come out, you always get these guys that are like, well, that API sucks. Or why do we need this? Now's your chance. You're a Y guy. Now's your chance to take part of the standards process and stop it before it's too late. So let's get on into it. Oh, I forgot to introduce you, Scott. How you doing, Scott?
Oh, I'm a Y guy. I'm doing good, man. I've never heard of Y guy before. That's hilarious.
I just made that up. Yeah.
Oh, let me just tell you, folks. We did a live show in Denver. And Wes was a part of a panel, and the guy could not stop coining new terms to the point where people were buying domains in the audience as he was talking. He was just like, we put chocolate on a pizza and call it Treatza. And everybody's like, oh, Treatza, come on.
Treatza. Or the other one?
Fail backwards.
Struggle backwards.
Backwards.
People are asked like the same question all the time is like, should you learn the basics before you get in too deep? And, and I was like, I don't really believe that. Like I learned jQuery and then I learned JavaScript. A lot of people learn React and then they learn regular JavaScript. And a lot of people are now AI programming, vibe coding, and then they're gonna learn how to actually code properly once they have that. And I just off the top of my head, I was like, this is called struggling backwards, meaning that like you just get into it and then you realize you hit a problem and then you have to like struggle through it and learn how this stuff actually works. And everyone's like, and then like the rest of the panelists are like, I really agree that you should struggle backwards, And like I was like, guys, I just made that up. That's not like a thing that we have. And then someone bought the domain name.
Yeah, it's crazy. There wasn't even another one too. I was just like, I was in the audience and I was just like, God, he's doing it again. And every time you got called on for something, I was just like, that is another term coined. So, Wes, your brain is fascinating to me.
Yes.
Yeah. Also fascinating, my website, because it doesn't work very well because I'm not checking my errors enough on Sentry.io. Actually, that's not true. I do. I check it all the time, and my website works absolutely fine because of that. Sentry it's the perfect place to make sure that your application is working. And it does so in a wonderful way by really giving you all of the data. There's even a neat AI feature that helps you fix the problems because you know that error logs and dumps can just be like, it can be a steamy dump. I'll tell you that. And Sentry allows you to click a button and it allows you to parse that in a nice way. It allows you to then connect it to potentially logs or see exactly what happened in a session replay. We have an error on the syntax site, Wes, that has happened 12 times a day for who knows how long because there's 20,000 events of this or 2,000 events of this.
What's the error?
Your credit balance is too low to access the Anthropic API.
Oh, shoot. We got to fix that.
I know.
Not 20,000. Oh, yeah, actually,
2,
no, we have a cron. Yeah, we have a cron. The way that works is every 5 minutes it checks if there's something that needs to be generated, like an AI summary, and then it pings the Anthropic API. So it's probably happening every 5 minutes it stopped working
May 27th.
Like 2 weeks ago. Okay. So we probably have like 8 shows that are getting pinged every 5 minutes. And something happened with the Anthropic API. I think we either have to update it or the card ran out or something.
The card ran out. Our credit
we
balance
also
is too low,
decided that those
Sarah.
AI summaries were not very good because we have Randy now. And we're just going to stop putting the AI summaries in there because Randy's summaries are better.
There's also a new feature in here in this error, which shout out to Sentry here because, it's a cron job. Like, are you checking your logs to whatever to see if a cron job failed or passed? I mean, sure, you might notice it stopped working or something like that, but now we can see that this has happened 2,000 times since May 27th, and we can take care of it. There's also a new feature here called Seer, which is in beta. It allows you to find the root cause of an issue, and you just click that Find Root Cause button, and it's going to attempt to figure out what the root cause. I have a feeling I know what the root cause of your credit balance is too low here, but there's some errors that I don't think I'll be able to find that. So shout out to Sentry on that. Head on over to sentry.io/syntax. Sign up with the coupon code Tasty Treat, all lowercase, all one word. Get 2 months for free. All right, TC39.
All right, so we're going to go through all the different proposals and kind of where they're at. The first one we have here is import module with a defer on it. This is kind of interesting. So right now with the script tag, if you pop a defer on the script tag, what will happen is the browser will download the JavaScript from that tag, but it will wait until the end to actually go ahead and execute it. And the proposal for module defer is that you can, like, I guess, like, if you're thinking about performance on a website, maybe we'll step back a bit. There's a couple things you can do to make your app more performant, right? You can not download all of the JavaScript that is needed until you actually need it. That's like lazy loading, right? And you can dynamically require in JavaScript. But the other part of JavaScript is not just loading or downloading the actual JavaScript. It's actually executing it. It's the browser needs to parse out the entire JavaScript so that it understands what the methods are and everything. And if there's any code that needs to be run right away when that thing is required, then or imported, then that will run. And that execution takes up CPU, and it can make your app slower. So we have immediate importing and immediate execution. That's just a regular import. We have lazy loading, which is a dynamic import. And now we are going to get it at a stage 2.7, which is deferring the import, meaning that it will download it right away, but it will not execute it until you call or until you use that code inside of there. So simply just pop a defer on the import statement. So it's import defer whatever. And then you wait until the browser will simply just wait, or the JavaScript runtime will simply wait until you actually need to use that code before it actually executes it, which can be expensive. Like I've had some code like on a Cloudflare worker that took, every time you instantiated the object, it took quite a long time, right? It turned out to be a bug. But if you have some very big code, you might not want that happening immediately on import. You might want to wait until you actually need it, and if you ever actually end up needing it. Yeah, alongside that as well, there's another one for adding the deferred to re-exports, which is when you import and export something in a single line. There's another proposal which will allow you to add the deferred value to those, but it's not really that. You'll need it, but it's not super interesting, so you won't spend any time on that.
Yeah. By the way, if you do want to keep up on a lot of this stuff, or really if you're on Twitter, Rob Palmer, who you did mention here, Rob is great follow for this. He's always tweeting out about whatever's going on.
He's a co-chair of TC39, and he always, whenever anything interesting is happening at TC39, he's posting it up. He's on Blue Sky as well, so
he is
certainly
cool.
A very good follow. And his profile photo is of one of my JavaScript exercises, I just realized. So I'm very happy about that.
It's Blue Sky or on Twitter?
On Twitter. It's the every single color, every single named color in HTML. It's a screenshot from one of my exercises.
Oh, I see. Not his avatar.
No, that's not me. That's him.
I was gonna say, how could this possibly be about colors? It's black and white. Next one here is the random namespace and functions. This one is stage 0, championed by Tab Atkins. Man, so the general idea here is that let's even read this first paragraph. Historically, JS has offered a very simple API for randomness, math.random, which we've all used. It's a function that returns a random value of uniform distribution from 0
Yeah,
to
we know
1.
what random is.
I love that the way these things are written to be so formal. I'm such an
Yeah,
informal person in
this
many
whole
ways.
spec authoring thing is a world of its own.
I know. I asked, I know this is stupid, but I asked ChatGPT to write Courtney a thank you for my salad in a formal way. And it was like, dearest wife, thank you so much for this yummy salad. And I did say you needed to use the word yummy in it. And she was like, who wrote this? You didn't write this.
Oh,
Like,
man.
no, yeah, obviously ChatGPT wrote it. It sounds the most ChatGPT thing ever. Side note, double side note. Do you have people in your life that use ChatGPT in text messages and emails and it's like very bad and
My
obvious?
kid's teacher just started writing her emails, and like there's double emojis at the end of every sentence, and that's like dead giveaway. The M dash, everyone is a dead
Dude.
giveaway that you're using. Unfortunately, because I'm a M dash enjoyer, I probably don't
You
use it
are?
in the right
Okay.
ways. But the double emoji in like a tweet or at the end of a sentence is a dead giveaway that you're using ChatGPT to write it, and it's annoying.
It's annoying.
It's I
Yeah, it's so
guess
odd.
it makes more sense because you can just like do a quick bullet list of what needs to happen, and then you feed it in, and it makes this like flowery email. But it's just I feel like I can smell it 100 miles away
You,
when somebody's using AI to write these things.
it's
And
weird. It's
yeah.
very weird. Yeah, I don't like getting them. All right, back to random. Random is
yes.
it's most importantly a new namespace for
Yes.
randomness within JavaScript.
Random dot, and there's 22 methods on there.
22 randomness things, which is, hey, that's pretty cool. So one of them is listed as random, as the random method. So are you going to say random.random?
Yes. Well, random
Okay.
dot random is going to be the like existing random that we already have. It's not
Yeah.
very exciting, but
I was just
they're
wondering if that's the way that.
random dot random, super random. But the
Yeah.
rest of them are for doing a random number between X and Y, a random number with a step. So you could say like, give me a
That's
random
great.
number between 2 and 3 with a step of 0.1. It might give you 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. But there's also methods for random arrays. So you can shuffle an array. You can grab a random item from an array. You can say, give me 3 items from this array and repeat them if you hit them multiple times or don't. Like I've written that many times. Right? You have a list of
Billion
people's
times,
names.
yeah.
You want to grab 3 people. You shouldn't have the same person twice. But then some cases you do want it, right? So it's taking that all into account. Random weighted, where you can weight certain items more than others, which is kind of cool. There's a whole thing for random distribution. It seems like the ultimate random toolkit, and I hate having to write that like simple, even just random number between 10 and 40. That's such an annoying thing to have to go and grab a utility method for it or whatnot. So I'm very excited about this.
I will say even like even as far as like the random the number method here, like you said, having a step, but that like allows you to again have a step of potentially 0.01 or whatever, or like int. You can get a random int if you want to specify it as being an int or a big int. I like this random dot boolean returns
Oh,
a
yeah.
boolean. So you can get a random Boolean, and it by default is weighted 50-50, but you can weight it. You can weight it so it returns true more often than
70%
false.
of the time.
Right. I that sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah. It really has thought of everything. I went through it. I made examples for everything in here, and it really makes sense. It is not cryptographically random, meaning that you should not use this for things like generating private keys or tokens or anything like that. There are web crypto APIs for that, which use truly random algorithms that are much more computationally intensive. So if you need it for that, then you should. People are a little up in arms about that not being cryptographically random, but like, man, I just got an array of names I need to shuffle.
You want it to be
I don't
performant.
necessarily.
Yeah.
I'm not using this to create passwords. The thing is that people are going to use this to create random IDs or random passwords. And when you're, I don't know, putting out some new syntax token or something like that, you're going to get stolen from.
Yeah. Well, one thing that is nice about this is it does seem like it's very polyfillable.
Yes. Yeah, all of these methods are very polyfillable. So you could, once this moves forward, I certainly would not use it yet. But once it hits like a stage 2 or 3 or something like that, maybe we can start implementing this and bring it into your applications anytime you need to use a random API.
Yeah, I love it.
One thing that comes along with this proposal is another proposal for a seeding algorithm. And the idea with seeding something that is random is you want them to be predictably random every single time. So if you've ever used like a Faker.js or any one of these APIs that creates random names or random cities and whatnot, when you're writing tests for those, you often need those values to be the same every single time, because if there are random values every time, your tests would never pass. So by seeding something with random, you'll know that you'll get the same value every single time that you call it. So if I call random.random, it's always going to, with a certain seed, it's always going to give me 0.4 every single time that I call it in that instance. But then I call it again, it's going to give me that same number. So it's predictably random, which in my case, I've only needed that for testing. Have you ever need predictably random in anything else? I guess if you need to be able to reproduce a list.
If you need to reproduce a list.
Without saving it. Like, let's say you have a list of names, you could save the seed, and then you could derive the random list the same way every single time without having to save the order of it. Yeah, it's a seed that you save.
You know what would make sense about that? Every year we do, like football squares, and I have to do them like randomly. And since I'm the one doing them randomly, nobody trusts that I'm going to. Well, people trust me because I do it every year, and I'm always fair about it. But like, I want to have some verification that I didn't just pull these out of my ass. So I just take like a screenshot of them after I do it. But like, if you could share links with the seed, that seed would provide proof that that exists as a thing that we did.
Yes, you could share the seed.
Yeah.
So you would randomly generate a seed, and then that seed would then be shareable, and then anybody else on their own accord could then derive the random values from that in the way that you're saying. So
or just load it as a parameter.
Plus, there's probably no way for you to generate the seed.
Because they're always long numbers. I mean, it would be tough to work backwards from a seed. Yeah, I'm sure there's ways you could do it. But like I think about like Minecraft has seeds. So like if you create a world that's really cool and you want somebody else to be able to then be able to create that same world on their own. So it's not like you're joining the world, but it's like recreating it. They do that via a seed.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of games use seeds in that way.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess you could just come up with seeds until you found one that was your name first, and then share that seed.
Of course.
So the world is not totally solved yet. Yes. Next one we have here is array.fromAsync. So array.from will take an iterable, and let's take a sec for explaining an iterable. An iterable in JavaScript is a piece of data structure that can be iterated over. It can be looped over, right? And obviously arrays are probably the most simple or the most common one, but there's many other types of data in JavaScript that can be looped over, right? You can loop over objects with a for of. You can loop over strings and get every single character. Maps and sets can be looped over. Node lists are, if you query select or something, that's not an array, that's a node list. And then probably the biggest one is like generators. If you have a generator function, you can loop over those, and every single time that you loop, you get the next item from the generator. So iterables can also be asynchronous, meaning that you can await inside of them. And when you have an asynchronous iterable, you sometimes want to simply just convert all of them into an array of their end values. And it's similar to how sometimes you want to simply wait for like promise.all and wait for all of the items to be resolved. If you want to do them all in synchronously. If you want to asynchronously run them, but you want them to run in series, then you may want to use the array.fromAsync. And what that will do is it will take an iterable, which has async values in it, and then it will spit out just a straight up array of all the end values in there. So that will be a handy one. That's not something I run into all of the time, but certainly in like tree walking, a lot of times in Node.js, you're doing directory traversal, you're searching for something, you don't necessarily know how many items there will be in that iterable because you haven't reached the end of it. That is a very handy use case for iterables and generators, and this array.fromAsync will be nice. And working with streams as well, I think this will be really helpful for as well. We're like, I don't care about every single hunk. I just give me the end piece of data that comes out the other end.
Neat.
Upserts. We've used upserts for many, many years. When have you used an upsert?
You know what? I use an upsert mostly in database stuff.
Yeah,
right.
Me too.
In Upsert, what it does is it updates the record if it exists, and it inserts it if it doesn't exist. That can save you doing a simple conditional saying, does this thing exist? If it does, then do this, otherwise do this. So an Upsert can turn that into one line, which is typically how I'm using it. Some people don't like Upserts, but they don't bite me. I don't know why. I've never had them bite me. Yeah.
So much of my coding is simply checking if something exists, and if it exists, then I want to update it. And if it does not exist, I want to then create it with that value. So this proposal here is for adding Upsert to maps and weak maps. And the most common use case will be when you're like counting through items, and the first time that you encounter a key, like let's say you're looping over a list of clothing, and you get shirt, pants, right? The first time you hit shirt, you check, have I started counting shirts yet? No. Okay, now create a key called shirt and set it to 0. And then you hit it again. Okay, well, now it exists, so I'll grab the value out, and then I'll increment it by 1, and then et cetera, right? The method name here is called get or insert, which will basically say, get me this value, or if it is not there, then insert it. And the first or the second argument to the method is going to be the default value. And that will be, so many times you have to check if it's there. I do all this wacky shorthand to say like if it's there or not. So it's just another nice little one. It will not be added to arrays arrays doesn't make sense. It's not added to objects because you should probably be using a map anytime you're doing any sort of dictionary or collection work. Maps are kind of underused, and I think one of the big reasons is because you can't JSON stringify it without a custom stringify algorithm. But I'm a big fan of maps.
Yeah. The next one here is clamp. I love Wes has a note that says, Scott, you love clamp in CSS. I do love clamp.
Scott's always clamping everything here and there.
Yeah. Insert the I love lamp. I love clamp for sure. Clamp is wonderful. And what is clamp? And honestly, which is very odd, I thought clamp was already in JavaScript. And it turns out I've always just been writing an implementation of it every single time. Or no, clamp is in CSS before we got clamp in CSS before we got it in JavaScript.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a function that constrains a value between an upper and a lower bound. So basically, typically, it takes a number, it takes a minimum, and it takes a maximum. In CSS, these are in a different order, but hey, you take a number, a minimum, and a maximum. And what that does is say like, all right, this can be useful if you have like an animation that needs to happen from 0 to 100. And you're providing it a value of 120 or something like that. And this is going to make sure it doesn't go above that upper bounds. And likewise, you go less than 0, it's going to return 0. So it's going to keep it in between these two bounds. Yeah, this is endlessly useful for animations, for math. You see it a lot. And they say, see the P5JS demo. You see it a lot in stuff like P5. Again, when you're working with numbers and you need to constrain them to different times. So this exists everywhere. There's a ton of user land implementations, right? There's clamp inside of Lodash, 3JS, P5, phaser, like anything like that uses clamp. And I've written my own clamp a number of times because it's not that tough.
It's a one-liner, right?
Yeah, now we got a clamp proposal in JavaScript, which is at stage 2, and I think there's no reason why this shouldn't just be rocket shipped into JavaScript because, yeah, why do we need all these user land implementations of this when we got it even in CSS?
A question I often get whenever I post about these things, specifically the random one, are people like, why do we need this? Like, why are we adding all this stuff to the language? And like, why not just import a module? In some cases with the clamp one, people will be like, why not just write a one-liner where it's like math.max? And I hate writing one-liners. You have to have like a utils folder, you npm install. Like I have a one-liner npm package that's installed like 100,000 times a week, and just because it's annoying to have to do that. But with the like random one, if you're shuffling an array of 20,000 items,
right?
And I don't want to do that in JavaScript. You know who's very fast at moving around data pointers? The lower level APIs that the browser is written in. So certainly is a performance thing when you get into very large functions and doing lots of complicated math in random land. And then simply things like clamp, where it's a one-liner, it's just so much simpler to have it built right in. And like that seems like a standard lib thing that every language should have.
It's a low-hanging fruit. It exists everywhere. Just give it to us in JavaScript.
What else? CSS has clamp. C# has clamp. C++, Rust, Kotlin, Dart, Ruby, Elm, Python. Does Python not have clamp? We got to beat Python out. No, there is no Python clamp.
Oh.
We beat him out. Take that, Python.
Take that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some sick picks and shameless plugs. I got a sick pick for you today, and that is a TV show that me and my wife have been loving, Clarkson's Farm. Jeremy Clarkson, he's the guy from the car show with the Top Gear. The Brits are going to kill me that I had to even think about that. That's
the car show.
Yeah. I actually started watching Top Gear after I watched Clarkson Farm. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I like Top Gear. Yeah.
But Jeremy Clarkson's the guy from Top Gear, and he bought a farm in the Coxwells of the British countryside. It's beautiful, and like he's got animals, and he's starting up like a pub, and it's super interesting. The guy is absolutely like not dialed, but he's a lot smarter than he leads on. And it is extremely entertaining. So I would highly recommend it. I think it's on Amazon Prime is where we watch it.
Yeah, I have not seen. Yeah, I like him in general. I liked, like I said, Top Gear, so maybe give them a go. We've been watching just absolutely trash TV lately. So trash TV as a genre, I'm going to say.
Okay, like what?
Oh, man. Like Vanderpump Villa, which I got to say, Hulu. It's on Hulu. Hulu sucks. It sucks. The apps suck. You pay for a service and then you got to watch 10,000 shitty ads. We were laughing that the ads are so bad on Hulu that Syntax they must be charging nothing for them, because Syntax could reasonably have a better ad on Hulu than any of the garbage that's on there. It is crazy, and they make you sit through so many of them, and we're paying for it. It is absolutely wild.
I got to put you onto Streamio. That's all I'll say is go check out Streamio, because I'm same with you. We pay for, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 of these, Netflix and Disney and Amazon Prime and Discovery, and freaking half the time I can't even find what I want, or it's like covered in ads. So definitely check out Streamio. It's very good. It's like torrent streaming. It's like a Netflix experience with like a torrent backend. It's just instant.
I will check that out, because we got to see the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and Vanderpump Villa and all this shit that's on Hulu. Man, I cannot believe how bad the Hulu apps. Like, no shade on the developers, because I'm sure it is a bureaucracy thing. But like, man, Netflix comparatively on the TV app, like you can't complain that the TV's underpowered or something like that, because the Netflix app smokes it in every single regard. Netflix, shout out to Netflix for actually taking their engineering seriously.
There was a guy at the meetup that worked on the Plex player, and he was telling us about like what's built in JavaScript and what's native, and that's a very interesting world and seems like a very painful world to test on all of these random TVs that are $214 at Walmart, but you got to run a high performance 4K stream decoder on it, you know.
I will tell you that Plex has got a much better app than Hulu does. So shout out to Plex for doing what Hulu can't do with whatever their budget is. That's the end of the Hulu rant, folks. Sick pick for me today is I got a 4-port charger. It is USB-C in all regards, and one of those ports does up to, I think maybe even more of them. I think 2 of them might do 140 watts. So they have like a 140 watt, and then a 140 watt, and then a 40 watt, and then a USB, a normal USB on there. And this is a charger with a screen. Called? It's the Anker Max USB-C charger, 4-port, multi-device, fast charging, advanced GaN power, adapted intuitive tech controls for MacBook, iPhone 16 series, Samsung Galaxy Pixel, and more. It's Anker. It's very nice. It has a little screen on it that shows you how much each device is drawing. It is awesome.
So I have this one, which I sick picked years ago. It's the Exyno Pro, and whenever you're unsure if a device is charging or if it's charging fast enough or whatever, being able to see the actual draw on the thing, I have a couple cables that have it built in, is so key to tell if something is dead or not. Especially if you like have like an iPad. I've fixed a few iPads in the past, and by watching the wattage spike and go down, you can tell if it's like short circuiting. So that's so good to be able to see the actual pull.
Yeah,
so that's great. You like that. You don't even need to carry around a MacBook charger anymore if you have one of these, and they're smaller and it fits in you just put it in your bag and you have charging for all your gear, including your laptop when you're traveling.
This is specifically why I bought it, because when I was in Barcelona, I brought a bunch of chargers and half my cables didn't work. And then I realized, I only brought one international adapter. So therefore, I have one international adapter and I got one thing I can plug into it. I can charge one thing at a time. So I got this to load up my stuff for my Amsterdam trip. And yeah, shout out to Anker, always making the good stuff.
That's great. Are you full USB-C in your whole life?
Yeah.
I've been lamenting
I have
one
old iPad that the kids use that uses the crappy iPhone adapter.
I got this recently because I'm almost there. My phone is Lightning, which I'm waiting for the next one, and my keyboard is Lightning, which kills me because this keyboard is going to be around for years. So I got this little thing that just clips on top, converts USB-C to Lightning.
Yeah, that's good.
And then
that's good
it just dangles on it, and then you always at least have one to be able to charge things.
Okay. Yeah, I can get with that.
Beautiful. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you later. Peace.
Peace.